First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming out. I want to thank Josh for having me. I want to thank Steve and Shelby. They handle so many different things, and Evelyn. I'm thankful because we're starting to see things come together in this nation. I hope you guys can hear me. I got this little soft voice.
More help. There you go.
Is there? Can you add some bass into this thing? But I really want everybody here to give themselves a pat on the back, because you guys that are here are the ones that are important. You guys are standing, you are showing strength. You could be at home, you could be doing anything else, but you're here and you're standing and you're gaining knowledge, you're gaining understanding, you're gaining education, and those different things are the things that will help us to stand and help us to win. So I got a question for everybody. The question is, how many people have been hurt by courts or know somebody that's been hurt by courts not being fair? There you go. All right. So I got a question for y'all. How many of you want to gain strength and actually be powerful?
Everyone.
Amen.
How many of us want to get to the point where we don't feel like victims anymore, and we realize that we have the strength, we have the power, and we have the voice?
Yep.
Woo!
Definitely.
Y'all sure you're happy about it? I'm at the wrong place. Hold on, let me talk. Hey, how many of y'all want to be powerful and tell the people what to do and force your will and make money from bad companies and all that? They say they want it. So I'm gonna ask y'all, how many of you want the power back, want your strength, and want to stand? All right? You got to be serious about this. This is the most important thing in our life outside of our faith right now. This is the most important thing. And if you have faith, this is your job. You know why Josh is here? I asked Josh months ago, I said, Josh, why are you doing this? You realize, Josh, they might come after you. You realize, Josh, they might attack you. We're in meetings. Josh is in a meeting. You know why he said he's here? He said, because it's the right thing to do. Nothing else. Right? So you know, if he wants to have friends in there, him being here is not the best for him. Him going to Colorado is not the best for him. As a matter of fact, look at how many of the politicians are here standing next to Josh. You think they don't know this is happening? You think they're not going to watch it on Facebook to see what we say?
Oh, absolutely.
They're not happy that real men come here. They're not happy that real men stand up. They know that it's not the smart thing to do if you want to be here forever.
That's right. They don't have any guts.
Yep. You know why?
Know that.
You know why they have a problem with coming here?
They can't tell the truth.
They can't tell the truth. They have a problem coming here because the truth is going to be spoken.
That's right.
And they don't want to be around the people because the people ain't big enough yet to stand on the people's side. But guess what happened? This whole state was put in place by who?
We the people.
We the people. They don't give us anything. They don't give us anything. The whole state is here because your forefathers came together and said that there could be a state.
That's right.
And the reason that we have a hard time is because knowledge has been twisted. So we used to know the law. We used to know where the power came from, but we forgot. And so when we forget, the politicians know and the lawyers know, don't tell them the truth. Don't tell them. There you go. Don't tell them. When you go into court and you say, what kind of court is this? They don't want to tell you. They're not going to tell you because they're ripping you off at the same time that they have you in there thinking you're going through a court process.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I'll say it like this, and anybody can test me on it. I don't care who it is. Tell any attorney you know to test me on this. These things they're running where they're taking your kids, maybe even when they're taking your guns, are not even courts.
Nope.
If you look up the 1946, I believe it is, Administrative Procedures Act, look on Wikipedia, you'll see it'll tell you that the judicial power was reserved for actual courts. So when agencies are running courts, is not actually what you think it is. It is an administrative hearing where they can make advisory opinions, but it's not judicial. And then when you go to the judges in the Article 3 courts, they say, well, we don't have any jurisdiction. We're just going to kick your case out and not tell you why. But there's legislative tribunals that are not judicial.
They're stealing our children.
That's right. Now, we can see this clearly. We can see this clearly, and we can see where our power comes from if we slow down and start paying attention and we start looking at the law. So I'm going to ask a question. Now, if you done been around for a while and you know the answer, don't answer. But we're going to let people who might not know answer this question. So, where is all the political power held? Somebody, if you're a veteran, I know you know already. Right now, it seems that way, don't it? Right now, it seems that way. But where is all the political power? We the people, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read something from y'all from the Declaration of Rights. Now, if I read it, y'all might not believe me, right? So maybe we should get Deep Voice Josh to read it. And that way, y'all know that what you're hearing from this paper is not what I'm saying, right? So let's go with, this is from the Declaration of Rights from Arizona, number 2, right? What does it say?
Arizona Constitution.
The political power, purpose of government. Section 2, all political power...
Wait. Now you got to do this like church. You got to stop him in the middle, right? All what?
All political power.
All political power is what?
Inherent.
Inherent.
In the people.
In the people. Go ahead.
And governments.
And governments, where they get their power from?
Derive their just powers.
Derive their just powers. Now here's the problem. We got to slow down here because this is important. If it says that governments derive their just powers, right? And it's going to tell where from. Isn't it possible if you can derive just powers, you could also get some unjust powers?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right? So there's two sides to every coin. If we give them just powers, they can also steal unjust powers. Right? All right, keep going.
Just powers from the consent of the governed.
From the consent of the governed. You know what that really means? Somebody might challenge me on this. But what that really means is if there's any act that is going to affect anybody's private rights, they're supposed to get you to sign it with written consent. Now, people ain't gonna believe me on that. Now, I'm gonna tell you where to find the answer. If you look up 1877 Georgia Constitution, you're going to see where it tells that any private law, any law, general or any special law that's going to affect private rights, you have to have written consent from those you're going to apply it to.
Yeah, which they never do.
They don't. And you know why they don't do it? They don't do it because we didn't know this. See, it's all fun and games when they're taking away our rights a little bit at a time. They'll take a little bit of a right away here, a little bit away there, and you don't notice it. And so you have to look and say, well, how do we defeat people who steal from us a little bit at a time here and there? You shout it from the rooftop, right?
Right.
You shout the truth out and teach people quicker than they can lie. That's how you beat them. And so we've forgotten where we stand, but we do have a place that we can go back to if we know what the truth says. So let me ask a question. I want y'all to be honest. How many of you knew that all political power is inherent in the people?
Yeah.
Not all, right? So this is what this means. That all power that is used to create government came from the people.
Right.
Right? So when you look in the Constitution, right? Because people don't teach us the Constitution. When you look in the Constitution, we're going to take Ryan. I'm going to give you an example. Come here, Ryan. We're going to, can you hear me? We're going to use Ryan. So the Constitution is what's called a trust document. Y'all know what a trust is? Like you have a real estate trust. If you want to buy houses, you could have a trust for your kids where you're going to save money for them, right? So let's say if we take Ryan. I can say, Ryan, look, I got $1 million in the bank, right? I'm going to make a trust. You're going to be the trustee. I'm going to give you authority to buy houses for my kids. You can buy houses to make them cash flow. Now I'm gonna give you the $1 million. Here's the trust indenture. You could go buy houses. Now here's the thing. What happens if Ryan goes and start buying cars?
No.
Can he get in trouble for that?
Yep.
Can he go to prison if I give him a trust indenture with granted authority? If he does anything outside the granted authority, he's breaking the law.
That's right.
Right? So when we look at the Constitution is what's called a trust indenture. When you go into a courtroom, how many people have heard of a judge say, "Don't you bring that Constitution in here"?
Yeah.
You ever heard that?
Yeah.
Right?
Seen it.
Yeah, okay.
In Phoenix, yeah.
That happens in real life. But in the Constitution, if the Constitution creates the position of a judge, right? Who has the political power to create an office of the judge?
We do.
We do as the people. So if the people walk into a courtroom and you say, "You bet not bring that Constitution in here," what's happening?
Violating your rights.
We're violating.
If you have a judge, where did he get his power from?
Constitution.
From the Constitution, from us, right?
Right.
So if you hate the very thing that created your position, what power are you working off of?
The
Your own.
Constitution. Your own.
Your own.
Yeah.
You're working in the private. So what's happening today is that the Constitution is a trust indenture. I'm sorry. The Constitution is a trust indenture. Now, how many people believe me when I say the Constitution is a trust? How many of y'all think it sounds a little shady and I might be lying? Right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Josh read from Article 1 of the Bill of Rights, Section 1, from the 1877 Georgia Constitution.
All government of right originates with the people. Is founded upon their will only.
Hold on, stop. It is founded upon their will only. Whose will?
Their will.
The people's will. Why are they bringing laws to us telling us we're going to force you to take this? If the whole government was put in place based off of the Constitution, based off of our will only, why do we give a freak what they think?
We don't care.
You see what I'm saying?
They can put us in jail.
They can only put you in jail when not enough people know the truth.
Right.
I heard that they was going to put people in jail for Boston Tea Party. What happened? I heard you were going to force people to take tea, right? Yeah, they thought they were going to force people to take tea, right? Then what happened?
It's in your water.
I heard that there was a guy named Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
And I heard that if you were chocolate like me, you couldn't walk on the street. I heard that you had to have segregation. You couldn't go to a certain water fountain. Then I seen people who were chocolate like me, and people who looked like Josh, and people who were all types of other races walking together holding arms, and the next thing you know,
That's right.
they weren't hitting people with fire hoses on the street no more. Right? Did it not change? See, there's always going to be a time where people will oppress you with unlawful statutes. It'll always be a time until the people stand up and demand that people do what's right.
That's right.
When the people stand up and tell other people what we're talking about now, you gain power. It's easy to complain. It's easy to say life is hard. It's easy to say they took my kids. It's easy to say they took my dog, they took my house, they took my car. The thing that is hard is to stand up and be tough, teach the truth, not worry about what they're doing, and lead the people to the point that they grow so fast you can't freaking stop it.
That's right.
That's what it's really about. See, they took my little guys. You don't ever hear me talking about it. I'm not whining. I'm not broken. People got these pictures on Facebook saying I'm broken. I'm not broken. You picked the wrong one, because I will study, gain the truth, and ferociously teach other people, and you will fall. I will guarantee it. But I'm not going to be weak.
Good for you.
I'm not going to be weak. I'm going to stand in my power. See, I'm going to tell you what. You hear the gentleman running for sheriff talking about how people are coming after him. He's standing here.
That's
You
right.
think this is easy for him?
Oh.
You think they're not trying to bash him? He's going to walk away from here. Somebody's going to find out he was here. And they're going to talk about him. And they're going to try to come after him. They're going to try to harm him. But he's standing with the people. You think he's doing this because he believes he can't win? He knows he can win. Look at his confidence.
That's right.
You can see it on him. Look at Josh. You can see it. See, that courage is contagious. That courage is contagious. Look at how many people are here. Jesus only had 12. The whole world know about Jesus. Look how many people we got.
Yep.
And some of these people are people who have been abused, hurt, mocked, laughed at, embarrassed by family members, and they're here.
Yep.
Amen.
They didn't lay down.
Right.
There is no victims here. We have some people whose stuff was done wrong to, but they picked the wrong people. Because these people are on fire. We got people who've been unlawfully arrested, and they're here. They got mocked. They got slammed down on the ground with people with guns, and they're here.
Yep.
Yeah.
We are winning, guys. Across the nation, we are winning. Virginia is standing up. New Jersey is standing up. Virginia got, I think, 91 out of 95 counties have made militias. You don't think the government knows that we're winning?
We're winning.
Yeah.
See,
Oh, yeah.
you might not want to talk about it too much, but you know if 91 out of 95 counties get militias, you got a problem on your hands.
Yeah.
You got a problem on your hands. Just think about what happened in Nevada.
Yeah.
Think about what happened with Nevada and some people. It was Nevada or Oregon where the Bundy Ranch and a couple
That
of
was Nevada.
strong people stood up and went over, and they had FBI agents who don't have a charter, and they had people who stood up with weapons just like they did, and for some reason they stopped destroying the people like they usually do. They start backing up and walking away and leaving, and they weren't pepper spraying everybody and killing everybody at that point.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, the power is in the people. As long as people can trick us into believing that we're wrong and they're right, we lose. All right, let's keep reading.
That's right.
Yep.
And is instituted solely for the good of the whole.
Good of the whole, okay?
Public officers
Public officers
are the trustees.
are the trustees. Guys, I said it was a trust, right?
Yeah.
If you have a trust, the people who handle business in the trust are called trustees. Now, a trustee, this makes the whole relationship different. See, when we think about people in office, we call them our public what?
Servants.
Nah, that ain't what we call them. Sometimes we do.
Officials.
Yeah, we call them public officials, let's be real. We call them public officials. And when something is wrong, we say, let's go ask our officials to make a law for us or to help us.
Well, that's a joke. That was
Right?
wrong.
So that's why you can't say they're public servants if you really ask them for everything that you desire. If the people have all political power and you have to beg for something, what does that mean? They become your leaders. And people call them that. They say they're our leaders. No, they're not your freaking leaders. They are your servants. See, there were military men back in the day who used to stand on the fact that they were something special because they did one thing. They signed a death warrant for the people. They said, I'll go die to serve the people, not to run roughshod over the people. I'll die to serve the people. And we gave them glory and honor because they put their lives on the line to serve us. Now, people have twisted it up and you become a second-class citizen if you're not a politician or in the military.
They're making us the servants.
They're making us the servants without us knowing by education. Now notice, it said they are the trustees of the people. Now here's the thing about trustees. Trustees are granted authority by a trust document. And if what they're doing is not in the trust document, they did not have the power to do it. So we look and we say, we need an attorney to tell us what's constitutional, and that's where we messed up. Because attorneys have interests where they're going to make money.
That's right.
They're going to make money. Now think about
He's
this.
getting an education.
You got all these darn attorneys going to school, tons of them graduating. They all want to make money. They got promises from the bar that they would make a ton of money if they became a lawyer, right? Then they don't get enough cases if they do right. So now they got to lie to make cases. You see what I'm saying? They got to lie. So when CPS workers come to court and they're just lying, the attorneys will tell you, well, I know they're lying on you. You say, well, fight for my rights. They'll say, well, we don't want to fight for your rights. Don't you want to just get your kid back? I'm like, dude, isn't it the same thing? I have a right to have my freaking kid. So why don't you want to fight for my rights? So notice it says, they are trustees and
servants of the people.
Servants of the people. Now, that should make y'all happy. Y'all should, your chest should start feeling warm, your heart should start swelling up, you should start getting happy, some endorphins should start flowing, because you realize that they are our servants and our trustees. We've been thinking about it wrong. We've been thinking that they can tell us what to do. You weren't put here to tell us what to do. I'm sure Martin is going to show y'all this. The reason you're here is to handle our business and protect our individual rights. Well, if you're here to protect my individual rights, how can you arbitrarily take my rights in a case? We decided we were going to take your rights to your kid. No, dude, that's a hoax. And when the people find out, you're going to pay, right?
I agree, yeah.
You don't have the right
Yeah.
to take my rights as one of the people. You don't have the power.
Liberty interest.
Right.
You don't have the power, right? So I'm going to show you our court case, going to tell you plain as day. Go look it up and see if I'm lying. They don't have the power to take your rights. And when we say stuff like, well, they took my rights, you're giving power to something that don't exist. So as long as we believe a lie, as long as we're not educated on what is true, then we will go along with their foolishness. These people will take you to court and say, you had dust on your ceiling fan, I had to take the kids. What? You got people getting raped in your offices, and you're telling me you're taking my kid over dust on a ceiling fan? Where did you get that authority? Where'd you get that? We're not asking the questions. Who gave you that authority? Did we give that to the government officials?
Nope.
No.
Where in the... See, this is how you got to get them. Stop arguing about who's the best parent. Stop arguing about if you're fit. Stop arguing about best interests of the child. That don't exist in the law nowhere. What you got to do is say, okay, so where in the Constitution, show me in what paragraph, what article, what section it says you have the right to take anybody's kids. Go ahead, I'll wait.
None.
Right?
Yeah.
You want to see attorneys be quiet on Facebook? Ask them where they got that authority, and they'll be like, they'll be gone. They'll be on vacation. They won't even pop in. They won't even hit like or dislike. Right? They'll stay away. In the same way, when you look at Title 42, which is what they use to say they have the power to take kids. Y'all know Title 42 never passed? Y'all heard of Title 42, right?
Yeah.
The Social Security Act is in Title 42.
ASFA.
ASFA, all that. What you'll find out is they are bringing a law to court that no congressional authority has ever given them.
That's right.
It has never passed. You can look on your phone right now, anybody who don't believe it, put in Title 42 and positive law. You'll see on the house.gov website, they'll tell you that Title 42 is a non-positive law. Congress never passed it. But we got attorneys, remember, who come into courtrooms, what they call courts, and take your kids. Charge you child support and take money out of all of our Social Security too. They actually match the money. If they get $3,000 a month from him, they're going to go into the Social Security and take $3,000 from everybody's Social Security. They're going to split it up between each other and donate the rest to the general fund. Did y'all know that? They're donating money to the general fund. So they're using incentives to get paid, and they're paying the state out of money as a private business that is taken away from all of our Social Security. So people are saying, I put my money in this investment, right, called the Social Security. They're supposed to be investing in making you money, right? But they're taking it and they're telling you it might not be there. As they steal your kids and sell your kids for money, right? Or as they stop you from seeing your kid and charge you a crazy amount of money for child support. If you gonna make somebody pay child support, why not let them see the kid? How does it make sense that I'm going to take all your money and then force you not to see your kid? I mean, darn, if you're going to take money from me, at least let me see the kid and pay for it. At least, if you're going to extort me so I get a benefit too, right? But you're going to make sure that people can't see their kids, so you're destroying homes. Why? For a program under Title 42 that never passed. That never passed. I'll put it to you like this. Show me where in the Constitution it said that there's going to be a fee and what percentage somebody has to pay for a child. And why does a child cost 50 times more for a basketball player than a guy who works as a garbage truck driver? And why are the people not telling us that they're making money, tons of money, billions of dollars, off of taking the kids and not letting you see them? You see, These are the dirty types of games that we could get past if we knew the law. So we see where it says, oh, now, y'all want to see where the power comes in? Here's where the power comes. This is where you get your strength. Now, I want people who are not specialists to answer this. So let's get some audience participation. Okay, so if you want to change the way the government works, and you can't be a specialist to answer this, what do you have to do?
You have to vote.
You have to vote. Okay, y'all hear that? What else do you do?
I didn't hear the question.
Call your congressmen and senators.
Call your congressmen and senators. Is that how you change stuff?
Some of it.
Okay, who wants to know where the real power is? Y'all want to hear some powerful stuff? If you want to change the government, do you have to wait until they're back in session?
No.
No? Okay, we're going to hear what you really can do. All right? What does that say?
And at all times.
And at all times.
Amenable to them.
Amendable to them. What does that mean? You can change it at any time. In Minnesota's Bill of Rights, it tells you that you can change the government and their police at any time. Did y'all hear that? The sheriff says something, and I'm going to call him the sheriff because that's what he's going to be.
Jerry.
The sheriff, Jerry, said something powerful. He talked about how the police officers in the room didn't like when he talked about that fact that the sheriffs were the elected power from the people. There's a difference between a sheriff and the government's police or policy officers. Right? There's a difference. The police are running around taking stuff because their job is to protect the corporation, the corporate state. The sheriff's job is to protect the people and their rights. So Minnesota will tell you that you can change the government and their police officers at any time. So there you go. This is what we have to know. I don't give a darn what statutes they make in there. I really don't care. Because if you really know the truth, the statutes are not for the people. I explain it to y'all if y'all want me to, and I'll prove it. When you have... There you go. You have granted authority, right? Our law is in the Constitution that we created. Their law is made to figure out how they're going to handle our business. So we make you a trustee to protect our rights and our property. You now can make statutes to tell how you're going to do it. You can say we're not going to smoke on the job. You can say we are not going to let our policy officers or our officials have more than 10 guns. You can say whatever you want for them and make all the statutes for them, but you cannot make statutes over the people. And I'll prove it. When you look in the Constitution, you see two different words for people. You see a word that says people, and you see a word that says persons. Who knows the Fourth Amendment? Who knows the Fourth Amendment? Somebody take a stab at it. It can be anybody. Take a stab at the Fourth Amendment. How does it start off? The United States Constitution. How does it work? Y'all remember?
Isn't that the one where that you can't break into someone's house without due process?
It's the right to property.
Okay,
Right
so
of the people.
now here you go. Watch this. Now it's two words in there in the beginning. The people shall be secure in their persons.
Causes, papers, and effects.
There you go. Now watch this. Is the people the same thing as a house?
No.
Are the people the same thing as effects? Or papers? No. So is the people the same thing as their persons? Y'all see that? What in the world is this? What is this talking about? The people shall be secure in their persons.
Against.
You see that? Now watch this. This is deep. The people are the ones who granted the authority in the Constitution. Their persons are their political offices. So if somebody is a police officer, that is their office. Their legislature, that's their person. It's your position. So the people, when they take on a person, they're protected. Right? You see that? So this is important. Because the people in the Constitution are the ones who grant the authority, but you never see laws that say the people better do this, the people better do that. It only says any person that crosses the street and does this is guilty of this. Any person who does not pay this is guilty of this. It never says if any one of the people does this, we're going to prosecute them. Why?
The Fourth Amendment protects you against unreasonable searches and seizures.
The difference is there's two different statuses. As the people, we create the law for them, and they're supposed to protect our rights. But what they've done is they've decided to make all of us persons like them and prosecute us for whatever they write down on paper. Take from us with whatever they write down on paper as if we're one of them. But they don't have jurisdiction over the people because we create their law. I'll show you the equivalent. The equivalent is God being in heaven and saying, hey people, I want you to replenish the earth. I want you to be good. I don't want you to kill each other. I don't want you to hurt each other. And then we turn to God and say, hey God, you know, I really didn't like that you made me not grow hair at this age. So I'm going to sue you, God, for all your power, and I'm going to take whatever you got up there. How does that make sense? See, the creator, the ones who create the entity, cannot be prosecuted by the entity unless you break what's called the common law. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not steal, right? You shouldn't defraud each other. So we're being attacked in courts that we should not even be in. You'll notice that they will never acknowledge your status as one of the people in their courts. And I'm going to show you some laws, and I'm going to prove to y'all that their laws do not apply to you. Now, we know CPS take kids a dime a dozen here, right?
2.5 times the national average.
There you go. So CPS, let's say before y'all start studying hard, because there was a time where y'all wasn't as smart as y'all are now, right? And I know we got some fire people here, because I recognize a lot of y'all. Let's just be honest. How many of y'all used to think that CPS had the power to just take kids at will? Right? Didn't we kind of think it was their right? They had the authority to do that? Yeah. Now, for those of you who ain't never heard of me before, how many of you think that CPS actually has a law somewhere that says they can take kids? Right? What would you do if I told you their law actually says they cannot take kids? Would that kind of make you feel funny? Would that give you some courage?
Yeah.
Would that give you some strength?
Yeah.
If you realize they were lying to you the whole time and no attorney ever told you, but some chocolate dude from the ghetto came to talk to you and show you the truth, and you've seen it for yourself, would that make you happy?
Yeah.
All right, watch this. We're going to look at some fire. So what we're going to look at is, we're going to look at one law first, and then we'll go to Sandra Day O'Connor, who's the first Supreme Court Justice female. She was from Arizona. We're going to look at the 1935 Social Security Act, right? Now, I want you guys to hear this because what you guys think in CPS as being a state agency, they're really a federal group. And I'm going to show you guys something. I'm going to let you guys hear the law that no attorney has ever told us. And I know that you're going to be stronger when you walk away from hearing this one, but I ain't going to just give you one. I'm going to give you another one, and I'm going to give you a Supreme Court justice so you can really know where you stand. All right, so let's go here. This is Title 11, the general provisions, 1101 6D from the Social Security Act, which they claim gives them the power to take kids.
Nothing in this act shall be construed as authorizing any federal official, agent, or representative in carrying out any of the provisions of this act to take charge of any child over the objection of either of the parents of such child.
Hold on, did y'all hear that? Say it louder one more time. All right, we're going to say it with emphasis. All right? Nothing in this act.
I remember this. I put it on Twitter.
Yeah, what happened? What happened when you put it on Twitter?
That one guy tried to come at me.
One attorney?
Well, at you.
Uh-huh.
And then we put him on Twitter Live, and he lost.
He lost bad. Hey, and he was an attorney. He tried to free me yesterday. He was an attorney, right?
We got to meet him, remember?
Oh, yeah, we got to see
gotta...
him. So we made a challenge for any attorney anywhere to come on and say that they had the right by the, oh no, that Title 42, which they used to take your kids, was positive law. It was a ghost town for like 2 weeks. Nobody would come. Then one guy got brave and tried to come test, and he started trying to side with me rather than argue. I'm like, dude, this ain't how it's supposed to work. You're supposed to stay on your side, right? Watch this. Nothing in this act
shall be construed
as
authorizing
any federal official,
agent or representative, and carrying out any of the provisions of this act.
Any of the provisions. Now, the Social Security Act, right, is just the act that gives money to kids who are pretty much orphans. If they don't have anything, you give something to take care of them. You make provisions like at church. You say, look, we got to make provisions for the congregation. If somebody loses their job, we can have some money to give them and some food so they're okay. That's not a law. That's just called provisions, right? So any of the provisions of this act,
to take charge of any child. Over the objection of either of the parents of such child.
The objection of either of the parents. So y'all know what that means? If you ever say I object, they got to give you your kid back by their law. Now, what attorney ever showed us that?
None.
Now we got attorneys that come to court to lose on purpose. They come telling you it's going to be a real hard fight. You might lose some body parts. I'm like, what is this, cancer? Is this the law? Are we fighting and I can stand on the law, or do I have cancer and we going through chemotherapy or something? Right? The law said no federal agent can take anybody's child against the objection of not just both of the parents, but either. Right? So if you have a spousal situation where y'all have a fight, and they come and they want to take your kid because you were there when you got hit, and you say, I don't want you to take my kids, how do they get the power to take your kid? Their very own law says that they can't do it. We took this and put it in an affidavit and gave it to the courts. You know what happened? They started giving people's kids back.
Yep.
But no attorney will tell us. Right? So, here's another one. Y'all heard of ASFA, right? Yeah. Big bad ASFA. The one that gives them the power to take your kids and take your lunch money, right? And make you not leave out the house. You got to sell your house to make them happy, right? Yep. We were told that ASFA allows the courts to steal your kid, right? Isn't that what we're told?
Wow. Yep.
Isn't that the truth? They say, oh, ASFA in 1997, Hillary and Bill Clinton did some crazy stuff. Blame it on them. Now we get to take your kid. We just following the law and doing our job, right? Y'all know what ASFA really said? Anybody ever read it for real?
No.
See, here's the problem. They tell us stuff, we don't read it. And then when they tell it to us, they show us non-positive law and don't tell us that there's a such thing of the positive law that was passed by Congress that says that everything they say they can do, they can't do. Watch. Here's ASFA, right? Y'all gonna be surprised at this one. Here's ASFA. Wait, hold on. I gotta ask some questions because I know they did y'all wrong. How many people have ever heard we don't want you to have your kid because you don't vaccinate? We don't want you to have your kid because we feel like you don't know how to parent because when you were 13, you had a drug charge, right? We don't think you could do it because you don't raise your kids right because you go to church too many times per week, right? Parenting options, right? Methods. Watch this. This is going to be good.
Nothing in this act.
Why does it always say nothing in this act, right? This is ASFA. Nothing in this act
is intended to disrupt the family.
Whoa! Out of everything you got in this act that's telling you could get some money for helping a kid that's in a position that they were by themselves and they don't have anybody to take care of them, anything that you see in this act does not give you the permission to do what?
To disrupt the family unnecessarily.
To disrupt the family unnecessarily.
Or to intrude inappropriately into family life.
Or to intrude inappropriately into family life. You know why you can't intrude into family life? Because the family is private. The government doesn't have jurisdiction over private. So the whole time they're telling you that they could take your kids and just snatching them is only because we don't know. It's only because we don't know. They're picking on us because we don't know. And then they have this thing called good faith. Right? Y'all heard of that? Good faith is they come in the house, snatch your kid, throw you on the ground, put guns on your head, kick you a couple of times, say stop resisting when you can't move. And then what happens is they say, well, we were told to come take your kid. How do we know? We did it in good faith. We didn't know we did wrong. We didn't know we were trampling your rights. So you know what we got to do as a people? We take the law that the bar members purposely don't teach the police the law. So when they go to steal your kids, they never heard that.
That's why we need constitutional sheriffs.
There you go. There you go. That's why we need Jerry. Right? Because here's the thing. In the law, the constitutional sheriff is going to stand for the law already. That's why they're mad at the sheriff over in Virginia. Because he says, I'm not taking anybody's gun. I'll go to jail first. I'll go to jail before I sell the people. Sorry. Right? So what we got to understand is if we take affidavits and we give them to the people who are not providing us with due process, are we learning anything?
Yeah.
If we take the law and give it to them first, everybody just serves them with the law. Now we can say, hey, you better read your law because you ain't going to have no excuse when I see you this time. You're not going to have any excuse. If you walk in my house and touch my kids, steal my car, take my dog, take my house, if you do anything that is not giving me due process, you're going to pay for it because you're not going to have the excuse that you didn't know that the law said nothing in the law would allow you to do what you're doing to me right now. You see, this is where our power is. See, we don't need to cry. We don't need to complain, right? The way that you win is you start learning the truth and you get strong. And I guarantee you, every one of y'all who just heard this truth, you probably gonna go look it up first to make sure that it's really true. But when you see it, you're going to be able to stand on it. Most people don't fight back because they don't know the law is really on their side. They don't want to disrupt stuff. There you go. They don't want to disrupt stuff when they think that they might be in the wrong. But when the people realize they're in the right, it's game over. All right, so, so what else can you not do?
To prohibit the use of reasonable methods of parental discipline.
You can't, they say, oh, you spanked your child, we take it. Right? You told your child go to the room too many times. We're taking it. But let's not get it twisted. If the government is mad at your kid, at 12, 13, 14, 20 years old, they'll slap your kid with a bullet. They'll take your kid's brain and make it exit stage left in a heartbeat and say we were justified. But you who love your kid, they won't let you correct your own kid in love. That's some dangerous stuff. Keep going.
Or to prescribe a particular method of parenting.
Whoa. Or to what?
Prescribe a particular method of parenting.
They can't tell you how to parent?
Nope.
Why are you sending me to parenting class
Right?
if you can't teach me
Thank you.
how to parent? Right? Now notice, you can't go against the people with these laws. Does that make you feel a little bit stronger about where you stand?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right? That helps you to fight a little bit more, right? Now I'm going to let you hear this one last thing from Sandra Day O'Connor. Sandra Day O'Connor is the first Supreme Court Justice. That was a woman. And I'm going to let y'all hear what she says. Now, this is important. And the reason this is important is sometimes we don't understand the difference between the word person and people. We don't understand that when they're talking about taking your child, this is a little up there, but it's not talking about your baby. And I'll prove that to y'all later. Sandra Day O'Connor gonna show y'all. But another thing is the government doesn't have the ability to make a law to take away a right. The government doesn't have the ability to make a law to take your kid, or to even give anybody 5 minutes with your kid. If you say no, you ain't taking my kid nowhere, I don't give a darn who it is, they can't make you do it. Not a court, not a legislative body member, nobody. Now y'all want to hear the judge say it? Supreme Court Justice Sandra Day O'Connor from the year 2000. Listen what's happening in this case. This is with a grandparent, which is related. And she still says you can't do it. But listen, let's hear it. What you got?
The U.S. Supreme Court ruled on the issue of grandparent visitation rights in the 2000 case of 530 U.S. 57, which involved a dispute between a Washington State mother and her ex-boyfriend's parents. When Brad Troxell, the children's father, died in 1993, his parents informed the mother, Tommy Granville, that they wanted to maintain a relationship with the couple's 2 daughters. Washington law at the time
Hold on, wait. Washington what?
Washington
Now I
law.
want y'all to see something. Washington what?
Washington law.
Washington law. Now, they called it Washington law. We got Arizona state statute, right? Arizona revised statute. Now, let me ask y'all a question. Is Arizona revised statute and Washington law actually the law? No. Let me ask you a question. So, when somebody says something is unconstitutional, right? Then doesn't that mean that there is a higher something that is measuring the lower something? Right? So, the Washington state law is what they called it at first. I want you to hear the change in words real soon. But the law said a certain thing. And then the judge is going to say the law is full of crap. Right? So we need to realize that not everything that somebody tells us is law is really law. Not everything that somebody writes on a piece of paper as a permission slip for somebody to come take your kids is law. Not everything that somebody writes on a piece of paper as a permission slip to take your guns is a law.
That's right.
So you hear them say, oh, we're writing laws. Well, that don't apply to me. Now, why don't it apply to me? The judge is going to tell you why it don't apply to you. Watch this. Pay close attention. Go ahead.
So Washington law at the time allowed any person.
Any person. So the law allowed any what? Person?
Person.
Any person. Okay, any person to do what?
To petition for visitation at any time.
To petition for visitation at any time. So I could just walk up and go find your kid, Scarlett, like, Scarlett, I'm taking your kid today because I think it's in the best interest of the child to be with me because I can hoop and I can jump high. You know, so the kid coming with me, right? Any person. What does it say?
And gave state courts discretion.
Whoa! And gave state courts discretion. So notice that the legislature can make a dumb statute. The courts will act like they got the power to receive it when they know darn well they're doing wrong. But what happened?
The state court's discretion to grant that visitation when it was in the child's best interest.
Which don't exist in the law. There is no such thing called the child best interest in any law book anywhere. Right? So let's keep going.
But the majority of the Troxell Court
Majority of the Troxell Court said what?
struck down the state statute as unconstitutional.
Whoa, did they call it a state law again or did they call it a state statute?
Switched it.
They struck down the state statute and said it was unconstitutional. It don't apply to nobody. So thousands of kids were getting taken from their parents because the courts would not tell the parents that this don't apply to you. We're getting our kids taken, cars taken, houses taken with no due process because nobody tells us that don't apply to you. They can't do that. Their own law says they can't do that. You see how serious this is? This is powerful. Watch what she says. You can't take kids for any amount of time away from parents because it is unconstitutional. Why? Because it does what?
As we allow it, it will continue.
There you go.
Sandra Day O'Connor said,
Sandra Day O'Connor said,
the liberty interest.
the liberty interest. Who knows what a liberty interest is except for Martin?
Children. Or children.
You know? Now, there's multiple liberty interests that you have. You have liberty interest to raise children, to be married, to go after business ventures, right? You got all these liberty interests that the court can't take. But they're not going to tell you. The attorney's definitely not going to tell you because they need thousands of cases and thousands of hours of billable hours to make money, right? They're not going to tell you. But we get strong when we hear this. Because when you standing on the truth, nobody can stop you.
They can't take it without due process.
They can't take it without due process, right? They can't take a liberty interest without a jury of your peers.
Yep. As
So,
long as we allow it, it will continue.
that's right. If I got the right to raise my children, what are you talking about? You severed my rights. That's my right. You can't take. Did I have a jury trial? Oh, okay. Well, you just talking then. It's cute when you play the game when there's not enough of us, but we're gonna tell the truth and there's gonna be millions of us. Let's see if you're gonna do it again. See, I know it's only gonna be a small amount of time before I teach enough people that
Strength in numbers.
we're gonna be able to stand with numbers. What's the last of it? Watch this, y'all. This is important.
The liberty interest at issue in this case. The interest of parents in the care, custody, and control of their children.
Now, everybody always tells us you can have the care, custody, and control of your children as long as the court says you can and we're not unhappy with you. But the very moment we get unhappy with you, we could jack your kids, take them hide them, do what we want to do with them, lose them. We ain't got to tell you nothing.
Abuse them, kill them.
There you go. That's
Sex
what's happening.
traffic.
That's what's really happening in the real world, what she said.
Yeah, we know about that.
So here's the problem.
Sell them.
You have a liberty interest in the care, custody, and control. Now, not just to take care of them and how you raise them and how you deal with their health, but the custody, you have the right to have them with you, and control, to control where they go, their whereabouts, and their actions, right? Now, if the liberty interest says that that's what you have, who from the Supreme Court, who can tell you you don't have it? Right? Now, isn't this a lot different from what we normally hear? Right? See, the truth is, the bar has no reason to tell us the truth. The bar has no reason to stop taking all of these cases. The bar has no reasons to stop CPS from lying. The bar has no reason to stop cops that they know are lying on people, planting evidence, doing all types of shady stuff, raping people, throwing people in jail and raping them in the jail cell on video camera. Right? We've seen stuff like this. The bar has no reason to stop them as long as they're making cases and money for them. So we as the people have to stand in our power. We as the people have to take our power back.
Amen.
Yeah.
Now, it get a little hectic, right? Because you want to just live life and have fun and do the stuff you want to do. But if this is not the best time in the world to learn more about the truth, learn more of the law, and take it and give it to other people with everything you have so that we can win, I don't know what time is. But I tell you, there is no way in the world that somebody like me, who didn't go to school for law, could find all this stuff because I'm somebody great. It ain't got nothing to do with me. God is knocking this thing down right now, and we were all put here for a time such as this. They got you. They thought they were going to hurt you. They thought they would mock you. They thought they would take stuff from you, take your kids. They thought they would punish you and torment you. But they made a big mistake because they didn't realize that you would never stand down. They didn't realize that you would never be soft. They didn't realize that you wouldn't lay down forever. They didn't realize that God was going to let you see the truth. And now is your time. It is your time. Take it. This is part of your destiny. You are going to be written about in history books. I promise you. Just stand right now. It is worth it. It is worth it. And watch the numbers grow. As y'all take this truth and give it to other people, it's going to grow. The nation is going to change. And we're going to freaking win. Period.
Amen.
Amen.
Yeah, more children will be hurt.
Anybody got any questions?
You don't mind if we post you on Facebook?
You can do whatever you want to do. You can take all the content that I just gave, you can take it, put it on your YouTubes, edit it, make it the way you want it to. Just don't change my words. Right? All right?
Take it to court.
Fix this side right here, because this is one of my bad side, right?
Because we're going to
But-
go get our kids back.
Hey,
Exactly, yeah.
look,
I'm going this week.
www.bringourkidshome.com. You can go sign up there, and it'll send you an affidavit back, and which is the one I did. We got over 40 kids back. We got one back in England. We got a ton back here. We got 9 back in one case in Arizona that had the same judge as me, same guardian ad litem as me. Yeah. See, I suffered through this, but I didn't have the knowledge when I was going through my case to know this. So I'm thankful God gave this to me now, because I realized what the truth is. I know we're all getting our kids back. I have no doubts. We're getting our kids back, and we're going to have justice, but we got to stand and teach other people. We're going to fight for a little while, then we're going to win, period.
It was www what?
BringOurKidsHome.com.
I think you're wonderful.
I'm a small fry. It's all God.
I don't care whether you're small or not. God did bring you here.
Thank you, ma'am. Anybody else got any more questions? Anything else?
I'm going to come talk to you.
Okay, I'm sure Martin is going to break down a whole lot that has to do with this, and he's going to get in really good detail because he got good detail. He got a lot of knowledge in
really good.
the Constitution.
You want to make like a statement about the vaccine issue that's starting to...
Oh, gosh.
got
Let me
this-
say this really quick. For any of you guys who are in the medical freedom world, dealing with the vaccines and stuff like that, Geneva, Switzerland, the World Health Organization, December 3rd, just the other day, they came together and had a meeting, and the head woman in the meeting actually came out and told that they didn't have evidence for showing that the vaccines don't hurt people or that they're safe and effective because they didn't do studies like the people in the pro medical freedom world has said. They also said you better stop calling these people anti-vaxxers because they're growing at 500 times the rate that we are. So they're literally in your Facebook groups. The woman showed she was in the Facebook groups, and they're doing studies on what you guys are talking about, and they found that people are being converted to the truth about vaccines at 500 times faster from you guys than they are from the actual vaccine world, the medical world. So we're winning across the board, guys. Somebody was in the room in Geneva, Switzerland with their camera up and they didn't realize. They told that we were winning. They told that they didn't have evidence to show that the vaccines were safe.
Tell them more.
They said, look, you guys are arguing with these people, but really we don't have the evidence we need to prove that the vaccines are safe and effective. Their clinical trials were 4 days or 5 days, sometimes 30 or 42 days, not 6 or 7 years like most drugs that we have in the world today. So the thing is that we are winning, guys. We're growing way faster than them. They realize they can't just call us names and lie on us and win anymore. People on Facebook didn't get the memo yet because it just happened. But we know, and we know that we're winning. We know that the standing is bringing mighty victories. So don't be ashamed in your standing. Don't be ashamed to stand up. Don't be ashamed to speak about what you know. Let people catch up 6 months to a year later with your wisdom, but speak it because we're winning. All right? Thank you guys so much.